Yes. Another day, another stream. Once more we nerd-venge. Got a lot to get into today. Should be a good one, ladies and gentle beings. Should be a good one. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Already in Nerdvengers Tower. Was in the tower early today, getting some work done. And there's a couple of things that I want to get into. It's going to be a fun one. We've got some fun X-Men stuff to get into. This is the last stream of the week, so I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow, except I will be doing the Prime stream for the Nerdvengers and at the Prime level, and I think it's going to be a really good one because I'm going to take a lot of tomorrow morning to just kind of get into some deep work on crafting some stuff from behind the scenes, looking at the data from the last couple of weeks of videos, and just looking at what we want to do with videos and with streams to sort of improve the quality and just kind of keep the fun rolling over here. So look out for that if you're a Prime member. I'll be streaming with you guys tomorrow, but no public stream tomorrow because I do need to take some time to work on a lot of stuff for the channel. Sometimes, you know, we work within the business and sometimes we work on the business. And lately I've been so focused and there's been so much going on. God damn it. As far as like doing stuff for the business, like making content and things of that nature, that I need to take a little bit of a break and work on the business. Like just figure some things out, think about what we want to do moving forward, etc., etc. But what that means is I will initiate the gambling. So I just did that. So gambling is on for all of you fiends so that you guys can gamble your nerd coin away today. And I'll also drop 3,000 nerd coin to everybody that's watching, okay? So we'll be talking about the X-Men stuff because it's the last stream of the week, and that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to talk about X-Men. But before we get into the X-Men stuff, there's a couple of really interesting stories out there. Some DC stuff and some Marvel stuff. Fantastic Four, actually. So I wanted to kind of get into that a little bit, and then we will get into the X-Men of it all. And I also wanted to really be interactive with you guys and sort of go over a bunch of the sort of ways this could turn out for the X-Men, because we're at that stage where we're hearing a lot of different things. A lot of it's confusing. Some of it feels like it's conflicting. And a lot of it will probably change, right? There's a general idea and a general plan, and I think that we know more about that now than ever. But there's still a lot of things that I think we don't know. There's still pieces that people are trying to pull together, and so I really want to be interactive and see what you guys make of all of that. And I also want to say, again, and we'll do a better, proper job of like explaining this in depth next week on all the different streams. But if you are watching on the replay, and I know a lot of people watching the replay, and you still want to be a part of the conversation when we do Q&A and we go over super chats, there's a new thing called Super Thanks. It's essentially like a super chat you do on a video. When we put up this as a video after the stream goes, like basically after it's done being live, it'll go up as a video. So you'll be able to do a super thanks right then and there on the video, and I will go over all of the super thanks from the day before on each stream. So just a kind of another way, because I know not everybody can catch things live. And so we just kind of wanted to bring that in as another way for people to, A, support the channel and the content, but also be able to like be in that Q&A part of the video, even if they're watching on a replay. You know what I mean? So we'll go over that more extensively next week, but I did want to bring it up as well. Okay, so first thing today, the first order of business, as it were. How many of you guys are getting the new Pokemon game? Let's talk a little bit about Pokemon. That's right, threw a curveball at you. I want to talk about Pokemon. Anybody getting this new Pokemon game? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? Pokemon game? Because Elisa and I are both getting it at midnight. And I want to tell you, that has nothing to do with us not streaming tomorrow morning. So don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up. Don't even accuse me of it. It has nothing to do with that. But yes, we are going to pick up the new Pokemon game tonight at midnight, and we're both really excited about it. It's going to be really fun. I don't know too much about the new game other than I think it's going to be what I thought the last Pokemon game was going to be. Like, what was the last one called? Arceus or some shit? Like, bro, I did not like that game. There was cool parts of it, and it was cool to be, like, in the open world and have, like, open world Pokemon and shit. But, like, no raids, no true open world sharing, no fighting against other people. All these different restrictions. Holy shit. Holy shit. So, yeah, I didn't really like it. But I'm quite excited for the new one. And to be able to, like, play with other people, fight other people, play with Elisa, fight Elisa, and hopefully beat her every single time. So that'll be really, really cool. I'm looking forward to that. Also, of course, yesterday was the launch of Call of Duty. New Warzone. And I got in there and I played a little bit as well. I wonder if any of you guys played it at all. What do you think of the new Warzone? Warzone 2. What do you think? Warzone is fun? Loved it? LMAO, no audio in Warzone? Playing the first God of War. Oh, yeah, God of War is out too. Crazy month for gaming, huh? How big is the download? It's big. I think it's like 60 gigs or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty buggy. You know, I will say it has been pretty buggy. Like, I had a lot. I didn't have many problems playing just on my own yesterday. Let me just pull this up here. I didn't have any problems really playing on my own. I played like some solos, played some quads in the afternoon or whatever. But then later at night, I was trying to play with friends, and I was trying to play via crossplay because I'm playing on PC and a lot of my friends play on Xbox. And it like didn't work at all. I was like, what? So that aspect of it was really whack. There was a lot of bugs in the game overall. But I do like the overall feel of Warzone. I haven't tried out the DMZ mode, but it seems like... I mean, look, it seems like it was super buggy, and it's not like the best start. But there's enough going on in the game that I think if they sort of fix it over time, you know, develop it, spend some time making it better, I think it could end up being really, really cool. I'm almost more interested in what they do in DMZ. But Warzone itself seems like a super fun time. So, yeah, and that new Sonic game is out too, huh? Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of improvements. I think the Gulag is trash. There's a lot of things they need to improve. But overall, I thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was pretty cool. So, there is that. Okay. Should we get into the first main topic of the day? Are we good? Is everybody, like, in the tower? Everybody's making their way in? Everybody's having their coffee, getting their day started. Can we get into the main topics now? Can we start to do that? Is that cool? Okay, let's do it. So, first up, let's talk about how everybody got all mad at me yesterday. Did y'all see this? And no, it wasn't about Star Wars, actually. I know. Actually, on that note, I will say... I really appreciate. I had a great time on the Nerdvenger stream yesterday. We had call-ins. We let a bunch of people just kind of get on the line and kind of talk through their perspective of like me and Star Wars and the beef and shit like that. I'm working on a video that I'll make, like kind of talking about Andor, whether or not I was wrong about Andor and shit like that, right? So it was cool. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by yesterday in the Nerdvenger stream. That was good shit. More on that to come. Okay, so, but everybody got mad at me about DC yesterday. Okay? And I want to, like, kind of explain it. I want to break it down because, you know, I was getting quote tweeted by all these different people. A lot of people got really upset. It was shared in various Reddits online as well. And this is honestly all Dude Trust Me Bro's fault. Okay? I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Well, not completely honest because I got to, I got to keep some of these cards to the chest. But I will say that this is 100% Dude Trust Me Bro's fault. Okay? And if you don't know, you're like, who's Dude Trust Me Bro? I don't understand it. You're not up to date on your lore. Okay? I'll break it down for you. TLDR. Dude Trust Me Bro, one of my favorite sources A really good source, not 100% accuracy, but definitely has connections and knows some things. Okay. You should blast, dude. Trust me, bro. Review who they are. They got you in a lot of trouble. I don't know if they got me in a lot of trouble or not. I mean, they certainly got me into some kerfuffles, I guess. I don't know if I would describe it as trouble. Like, it's all good. You know what I mean? I think it's all good. So, dude, trust me, bro. I was having a conversation about a couple of different things yesterday, Marvel related, DC related, etc. And the one that was really wild to me was the fact that Zaslav apparently doesn't really like Pattinson and wants to go with Batfleck. Okay? So this story popped up. I think we even talked about it on either Monday or Tuesday, where David Zaslav is talking about DC. You know, he's addressing the current state of the market in a lot of ways. He's like doing the David Zaslav thing. And to me, it felt like almost like out of nowhere. Like David Zaslav's like doing his usual spiel, kind of like just goobly glob, DC, plan, Bible, MCU, like just saying all the buzzwords. And then like out of nowhere, he's like, there won't be for Batman. And to me, I was like, what? Like, what does that mean? Out of nowhere, the dude's like, oh, by the way, there won't be for Batman. I felt personally attacked a little bit. Like, he was literally like, oh, yeah, Josh, by the way, there won't be for Batman. And I was like, damn, okay, that's pretty interesting, right? And I think it's not too hard to figure out what he's trying to say. I think what he's saying is the MCU formula, and one of the reasons that the MCU formula works so well, at least initially, right, in the first 3 phases, was that there was this sort of, they're calling it a Bible. It's just continuity or canon, right? And you have basically, for the most part, singular actors portraying a singular role, and that's the role for the MCU. And the connective tissue and how you follow all of these characters throughout the movies, almost in that episodic sense, that's where a lot of the magic is happening from. So Zaslav has made it no secret that he just wants to replicate that. Also, Peter Safran and James Gunn have been meeting and have been working on their Bible, like literally their words. And I think this is sort of at the behest of Zaslav. And there have been so many questions about what they will be doing with the Batman in general, that character. Because you literally have a movie in The Flash, right? Where you've got Michael Keaton Batman, Ben Affleck Batman. There were rumors they were working on getting other Batman as well, and you were sort of going to see this multiversal thing going on there. Like, that's a thing, okay? And the pre-established plan was to obviously do Matt Reeves' The Batman, and then do whatever they were doing with The Flash via soft reboot, putting Keaton in as Batman, okay? And so these comments, right, by Zaslav, where he's basically like, there won't be for Batman, it seemed to throw like a wrench into that. And then yesterday, again, dude, trust me, bro, tells me, yeah, Zaslav wants Affleck. He doesn't want the Batman. And even the tweet that I made about this, by the way, like, I'll show you guys the tweet. Like, this to me is like one of my most self-aware tweets that I've ever made. Let me see if I can. Like, check this out. I literally say here, I shouldn't even say this, but I heard Zaslav likes Batfleck and doesn't like Pattinson. Now, one of the reasons that I felt like I shouldn't even say this is because I've been very vocally shitting on the Batman since before it came out. Okay? And I was like, yeah, I know how this is going to look. You know what I mean? Like, I know how this is going to look. Also, dude, trust me, bro. Again, not 100% accurate. And it feels like this situation is fluid. but I was like, fuck it, I'll share it, okay? And as you would expect, this was my favorite one. Where's the favorite one? Where they took all my, they screenshotted all my, I mean, look at this. I haven't even gone through all of this because I can't go through it, all this shit. You know what I mean? I can't go through all this shit and how mad everybody is. Dude, where's it at? I retweeted it actually, so let me just get out of here. Yeah, this one was my favorite. Where this guy said, oh, don't worry, surely your information seems legitimate. And he shared all these screenshots. And you know, there's two ways to look at this. On the one hand, it's like, hey, I must be doing something right if people are screenshotting my shit and sharing it around in a negative way, right? So I guess that's one way to look at it. Let me shrink this down, actually, so you guys can see what I'm... Because it's pretty funny. And again, I knew this shit would happen. I was like, ugh. As soon as I even say this, like, this is what's going to happen. People are going to be like, you're just a Batman hater, bro. You know? I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily describe myself as the Batman hater, but nonetheless. So, like, if you look at this, right? Like, this guy screenshotted this one. The Batman was mid, bro. It's also not a place to do an MC-like content, which is what he wants. Talking of Zaslav. What about Batman 2? Bye. I don't even remember tweeting this, but brilliant tweet. Me quote tweeting, the Batman 2 is reportedly not greenlit yet, with like the smiling, you know, shit. People being like, Man of Steel is better than Batman, like 100 times better. So basically, like, took all these tweets from mine and basically tried to make the case that I was full of shit or whatever. And again, like, dude, like, I get it. And that's why I felt uncomfortable even sharing the tweet, because I'm hearing this from somebody that's pretty fucking legit, right? But I also know how it looks. It looks like me being like, oh, guys, the Batman, which I don't like, is not gonna be the way that Zaslav goes, and instead he wants Batfleck. And it just feels like fanboy dreaming. And you know what? Shit, man. Maybe it won't work out, and maybe they will continue the Batman. But let me explain why I think there's actually a pretty good case as to why Zaslav probably doesn't like the Batman. And by the way, from what we understand of the Batman, and like, this is kind of fun because we get to kind of retread going back through, you know, the Batman and me pooping on the Batman and all of that sort of stuff, okay? If you'll recall, there were some reports around the time of the Batman that Warner Brothers made Matt Reeves change the Batman movie so that it would be a little less dark and a little bit less like the Batman is actually mentally broken and he's actually got mental health problems, and it's really not a good look, right? And so it kind of seemed like, from Warner Brothers' perspective, and I totally get this, by the way. I totally get this. It's difficult to sell as the Batman, as the big DC, like, wide appeal thing, and Marvel-esque, right? Because that is what he wants. This is Zaslav, dude. He's not a nerd. He just wants the same money machine, and he's trying to, like, figure out how we got there. From his perspective, and I think the perspective of many business-type people, if you make Batman way too dark and gritty and actually have severe mental issues that aren't like some, oh, yeah, I guess Batman's crazy. It's like, no, like, Batman needs help and probably shouldn't be doing what he's doing. It's really hard to sell that to audiences and also turn around and be like, oh, by the way, your 6-year-old should buy the new hot rod version of the Batmobile. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a little tough. That's a tough sell. Josh, that makes no sense. What do you mean? How does that not make any sense, bro? Like, the fight between R rating and PG-13, right? A tale as old as time. Many people say, oh, dude, make it rated R because we want to see it push the limits. We want to see it get really violent or really sexual or whatever, right? People like that. But then the counter argument has always been, Well, yeah, but you cut off a select portion of the audience by doing that. And a PG-13 movie, for the most part, in the sort of conventional wisdom, is that it has a wider appeal. You can cast a wider net if it's not super dark, disturbing, like, you know, really depressing. Like, one of my biggest problems with The Batman was that it's really not fun and just really dreary, dude. Like, the whole fucking thing's just really dreary. And that's fine for atmosphere, and the noir aspects of it can, like, totally work for Batman. But it's very difficult to make that guy the leader of the Justice League or something that you want to make this mass appeal lifestyle brand. So I think that's kind of where Zaslav's head is at, right? It's difficult for them to try to replicate the MCU via the Batman. And I don't know for sure. I mean, again, it is absolutely possible that they work this out in a way that both can exist. But, like, listen to what he said. He literally said there won't be 4 Batman. I don't know, guys. You let me know what the fuck you think that means. And also, by the way, after Dude Trust Me Bro said this and I shared it online, Daniel Richtman and My Time to Shine Hello both liked and retweeted this shit. I would take that as they are hearing similar things. That Zaslav literally wants Ben Affleck Batman. Okay? So now, let's talk about Ben Affleck Batman for a second, okay? Because you could say, and I think many people would say, Ben doesn't want to be Batman anymore. You know? Ben isn't interested in it. You know, he's trying to move on. He doesn't want to be Batman anymore. And I think to a degree that's true. But also, like, let's just look at the reality of the fucking situation. He came back for the Snyder Cut to shoot stuff. He came back and shot stuff for The Flash. He came back and shot stuff to be put at the end of Aquaman 2 or something to do with Aquaman 2. The dude, you might be able to find interviews or, you know, make the case that he's vocalized not wanting to be Batman anymore or wanting to move on or whatever. And that's absolutely fair. But watch what he's actually doing. Watch the moves he's making. He's literally pinning the cowl. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because I don't know for sure if he's actually in the cowl at all for Aquaman or for The Flash. But he's come back and he's playing Bruce Wayne again. So, I guess the question is, and I really, dude, fuck it. Let's open it up to the polls, man. Let's open it up to the polls. Do you guys think Affleck would return to play Batman for like 8 more years? Because they have they have an 8 to 10 year plan. That's the whole thing now, right? Do you think Affleck would come back to Batman for 8 to 10 years? I'm going to just put it like that. And I'd like to know what you guys think about it. Because, I mean, you know, look, I'm not sure. And I am a little confused as to, like, what does James Gunn and Safran want? What does Zaslav want? He's constantly talking about MCU. He's constantly talking about building a Bible. He said he wanted to see like a lot more movement at DC and to push DC hard. So I think sort of at a time when like there's a lot of experimentation, or I guess we're kind of coming out of a period where there was a lot of experimentation. It seemed like the money machine would go on forever. People trying all sorts of different stuff. It seems like things are tightening down. And yet I think Zaslav is going to try to tighten things down, but also like push DC super hard in the sense that where they are spending their money is in this DC stuff, right? And like when I thought about James Gunn coming on, I was like, well, I don't know if he's going to be like rebooting this thing. That seems unlikely. And with them already having The Flash, I think the really easy move would just be to slightly alter the end of the Flash movie and make it so Ben Affleck's Batman is just there and back. Because the James Gunn plan was to have Ben Affleck's Batman in the multiverse somewhere, and then they were going to be seeking him for Crisis, right? And I can't help but think, like, the Crisis plan with variants and multiverse stuff seems counter to Zaslav's statement about not having 4 Batman. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't really know. People are saying Reeves signed a Warner Brothers exclusive contract. So did J.J. Abrams years ago. And he has done nothing. You know what I mean? So, like, I get it. But I'm just telling you. I'm telling you what I hear, and I'm telling you what I think is going on. It's like speculating through the weeds, if you will. You know what I mean? Okay, but the other aspect of this that, for whatever reason, Casey Walsh got really upset about is the fact that I also hear that Zaslav really doesn't like Ezra, and there will be a new Flash for sure. And I still don't really understand this, like, sort of pocket of people that want to defend Ezra. Like, I saw Casey Walsh try to make the point that he felt that Shuri or Letitia Wright was equally as bad as Ezra, or had engaged in conduct that was as equally damaging to the movie or the brand or the studio. And I'm just like, dude, what? Honestly, what the fuck? What planet are you living on, brother? Like, for real, what fucking planet are you living on where that's an equivalence? I don't know, man. You'd have to really reject a lot of things that I think are widely considered to be true about Ezra. You'd have to reject that as all like conspiracy or something like that. And that's just so wild to me, right? So you could make the case that you think the performance turned in is incredible, and therefore on merit, Ezra should continue playing the Flash, or like this movie should be really, really good, and maybe there's a chance for rehabilitation. But I really think it's absurd to not understand how bad this is. Because things have been quiet for a little bit, and there haven't been like any more I'm treating the world like GTA 5 Ezra stories. But I guarantee you there's a bunch waiting in the wings. There will be a bunch of hard questions and really weird things to happen on the press tour for this movie. And remember, too, that at this point, I think 2 months ago, Ezra and Ezra's manager met with Pamela and Abdi at Warner Brothers, and the only reason Ezra actually met with them and tried to rehabilitate at all was because they found out that the movie was actually in danger of being canceled. Like, those are legitimate conversations that happened behind the scenes, that Warner Brothers was like, we are thinking about canceling this movie completely. You know what I mean? Just simply because of Ezra. Really, it's really all about all of those damaging stories and all of the conduct and the shit that's going on with Ezra, right? So, look, you don't have to believe it. And at this point with Warner Brothers, who the fuck knows for sure? Like, things are all over the place. But I'm just telling you what I hear, and I really strongly feel that Warner Brothers is going to move on from Ezra, regardless of whether or not there's a rehabilitation, regardless of whether or not there's no bad stories from now until that movie is released. So that adds another really interesting element to the whole thing, right? Like a new Flash, a new DCU, you know, James Gunn teasing out fucking Lobo, Mr. Terrific. Zaslav comes in and says no for Batman. And again, I almost can't believe that I'm saying this, but you might get Ben Affleck as Batman again for many outings. Like, that would be so crazy to kind of come full circle to that and then see what the sort of new James Gunn take on that could be. I would be pretty fascinated to see all of that. So there you go. And by the way, just for the sake of catching everybody up, look at the poll, man. Looks like about 60% of you guys say that you don't think Affleck would come back to be Batman for 8 to 10 years. It's probably that many of you just think that he would come back, but he doesn't want to commit to a long time period of doing this, right? And I understand it. I get it. But I'm just telling you what I heard. So that's the sort of truth of it. And I guess we could get into Q&A about that more later. Now, The other thing that I want to talk about before we get into the X-Men stuff, and oh, baby, am I excited to get into the X-Men stuff. Oh, baby, am I excited to get into the X-Men stuff. Holy shit. We need to talk about the Fantastic Four a little bit, okay? I'm going to end this poll because you guys are all wrong and shit, you know? You guys are all wrong. Okay, so let's talk about the Fantastic Four. We've been hearing things behind the scenes for the Fantastic Four. I had the idea, especially predicated on the fact that I thought Doctor Doom himself was going to be introduced in a post-credit scene for Wakanda Forever and established as somebody who had been in the MCU for some time, which still might be the case. I was like, well then, obviously the Fantastic Four have to have been around for some time. Okay? Well, just yesterday, during a live stream, Grace Randolph indicated that she had heard that the Fantastic Four movie was going to take place in the 1960s. And it would indeed sort of be like an old school, almost WandaVision-esque, at least in the early parts of that, 60s piece that would eventually then take the Fantastic Four from that time and have them arrive in the present. Okay? And that's kind of interesting. That is definitely not how I thought they were going to do it. I was starting to think that we'd get a modern day Fantastic Four kind of out in space. You know, we heard all this stuff about Star Trek and how, you know, you'd be maybe visiting other planets very much like they do in the original Star Trek movie. And I was like, damn, okay. Seems like maybe that's not going to be the case. And instead we're going to get into the 1960s. And Alex Perez, who writes for the Cosmic Circus and who I've been sort of bringing things up about lately, because Alex does, and the Cosmic Circus has really good sources, but Alex has been doing a great job on covering things and then bringing them up again as they become relevant, okay? And so this is something that he posted on October 19th, but recently retweeted after the word came out yesterday about the 1960s. Okay? So let's just go through this article and kind of see if there's any kind of interesting stuff to glean from the Fantastic Four production. Following the official announcement that Marvel Studios was developing a Fantastic Four project in 2020, fans have waited for any clues as to how Marvel plans to tackle the story of Marvel's first family. Audiences finally got a taste of what's to come when Reed Richards made his debut in the MCU this year in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, one of the most misunderstood pieces of glorious cinema ever to grace the screens. An absolute masterpiece of a movie that, if you don't like, you're wrong about. Moving on. While Richards' appearance in the film was relatively minor, his scenes provided exposition to several topics. He covered the concept of incursions and the effects of the Darkhold, what happened from the Steven of his universe, and more. Perhaps one of the most memorable moments of Richards' introduction came from Strange's throwaway joke when seeing him for the first time. However, his joke may not have necessarily been a joke. What if Marvel sneakily clued us in to what happened to Marvel's first family? Fantastic Four. Didn't you guys chart in the 60s? The joke in question emerged during banter between Doctor Strange and Dr. Richards. The joke implies that the incredibly popular superhero group was in fact a music band in the 1960s. Many saw that this joke as a clever worded reference to the Fantastic Four's comic debut in the 1961, or a reference to the Beatles, the Fab Four. Others saw this as a clever way for Strange to work in his music trivia knowledge, as there was a band in the 1960s and then called the Fantastic Four. That's also cool, actually, because he does love doing all that with the thing. Wait, what? What? Wait, how is that a joke? Wait, what? I don't understand what you're talking about. Also, just relax. We're getting there. 1960s, an unexplored fertile ground for the MCU. Marvel Cinematic Universe has explored many different decades and centuries in its films. However, one of the decades that Marvel has yet to explore is the 1960s. The 60s were previously explored in such films as X-Men First Class, with the events taking place in 1962, but the mainstream MCU has yet to explore such a golden decade of historical events, music, and pop culture. This also allows the MCU to develop further the timeline of events between Captain America the First Avenger and Avengers Endgame, which has a scene in the 1970s. 1964 to 1965, potentially critical years. In Iron Man 2, a recording from Howard Stark was meant to serve as the opening to the Stark Expo of 1974. However, behind him, there's a series of posters from previous expos, specifically a poster from the Stark Expo in 1964. This could clue us into the Fantastic Four movie's potential time and place. Having the Fantastic Four show up during the expo would be a great way for Richards to develop a connection with Howard Stark through their love of innovation, science, and technology. Another great connection between the Stark Expo and one of the more important parts of the story is its history. In Captain America the First Avenger, the first expo was held in 1943. This expo has a brief artifact appearance in the form of a display of a red suit by Dr. Paneras Horton, known as the Synthetic Man. The Synthetic Man was based on the design of the first Human Torch, Jim Hammond. So it would be a nice callback for the first ever appearance of the Fantastic Four to also take place at the same time as the Stark Expo. Additionally, the events of the film could potentially show the public unveiling of one of Marvel's most important organizations, S.H.I.E.L.D. In the comics, S.H.I.E.L.D. debuted in 1965. However, in the MCU, the closest detail we have is that the organization was founded following the Second World War. So, the film could clue us in on the potential development of this secretive organization, as well as grant us more screen time with the past characters such as Peggy Carter and Howard Stark. So, here's the golden question then. Why does no one remember the Fantastic Four? This theory raises a very important question and probably the largest counterpoint. Why does no one in the 616 remember the Fantastic Four or jokingly refer to them as a band if they already existed there? Well, there are a number of different explanations. For starters, and the simple and laziest way to go could be to make them from another universe. A way they could go about it would be to have the film end with their Earth or universe in disarray, which leads them to find a new way to leave their Earth and find a way on their own. Okay, the problem is that it's not development for those heroes to have on their Earth would essentially be scrapped when they came into our universe. Additionally, there's no need to really make them from another universe. After all, Daredevil was recently introduced in the MCU and is already an established superhero with much context to his origin. So the alternate universe route seems unlikely. Another option would be for everyone else forgets them instantaneously. How could that work? Well, a spell was recently introduced in Spider-Man No Way Home called the Runes of Kufkal, which obviously made everybody forget that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. A similar effect could have occurred here, now necessarily, or not necessarily using magic, because I highly doubt the Ancient One would make an appearance in this film, but perhaps a more grounded variant of the spell, rooted in science or a cosmic source from among the stars could potentially work. But we'll just have to wait for the Fantastic Four in 2025. I like this picture of Kang down here as well, because one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is Kang and Kang pulling the strings of a lot of this stuff, right? And so with them being in the 1960s and with there being some legitimate rumors at this point that that's what's going to happen in the film, I think it makes sense that either Victor Timely or the guy in charge of Kang Enterprises or something, that a variant of Kang would be the one to remove the Fantastic Four from the MCU at around the 60s. And also, if Reed Richards is just known as a scientist and they go out into space, get hit with the cosmic rays, become the Fantastic Four, but don't ever actually return to Earth to become a superhero team, then it's totally possible that they are the Fantastic Four, but just out there in space. The other thing that's really interesting is there's, of course, a ship, or it appears to be a ship, at the end of Loki. And it's in that sort of nexus of time, place. And then, like, there's this random fucking ship that just flies through there, right? Mr. Griffin, is that the Kang Enterprise guy? Yeah. So, that's pretty wild. You know, and maybe like the end of that movie will show them in a ship coming through Kang's time portal thing or something like that. I don't really know. It's really interesting. So I guess I just kind of want to know, like, what do you guys think about the Fantastic Four being in the 1960s? You think that's a good look? And how do you think that's going to go down? To me, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, and I'm also like, what is this movie? You know? And how is this all going to tie together, right? Now, I will say this, too. There's a plot leak out there now for Kang Dynasty. And I'm working on a big video. So it's part of the reason why I can't stream tomorrow is I'm working on a big video. When I mean a big video, I mean a big fucking video, dude. That's talking about this potential plot leak for Kang Dynasty, some of the new details we've heard about Secret Wars, and how this is all going to tie together. I think I'll make it the part 3 to the Road to Secret Wars video. It's going to be mind-blowing. So I don't want to go over too much of it here, but I will say, I think it is possible that Kang has been influencing the whole Avengers thing for a long, long time, potentially still doing that in the 1960s, still doing it in the current MCU timeline. And I'm thinking that's a sort of route that they could go for all of this. So it's pretty interesting. Pretty wild stuff. To what end? To Secret Wars. What do you mean? What do you mean? To what end? What are you even talking about? Yo, let me do a thing here real quick because I kind of want to do some. I want to draw a chart. I want to draw a chart to help this make sense. But we're about to talk about the X-Men, okay? About to talk about the X-Men. Let's do a draw ring. I think a drawing will help us make sense of this. Yeah. Maybe this is the way. Is this? Do you know the way? Okay, cool. I think this will help. Let me. By the way, is anybody winning? What the fuck? Is anybody winning the? What the fuck? Gambling and stuff. What is this? No. What? I don't know why Streamlabs is being so silly. Like, it's giving me all these. Okay. Hang on a second. Wow. Well, that's ridiculous because that's not even one of my. Hang on. Bro. Okay, wait, let's try this one. Wait, I think that's gonna work. Wait, what? What the actual fuck, dude? Like, why? It really shouldn't be this hard to, like, do a drawing. To pull up Photoshop and for y'all to see what I'm talking about here. The fuck, dude? Come on, man. What? I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, dude. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Like, why? Okay, I'm just ended all of the Photoshops. Let me try to do it again. Or I guess I could just do, like, paint right? Is paint still a thing? Hey, paint! Can I pull up paint? Oh, wait, now this is working? And why didn't it switch, dude? What the fuck, bro? I swear, like, technology and trying to, like, get shit to just work on your stream is one of the most frustrating things in the world. Like, I have no idea why Photoshop, when I open it, and I can actually see, like, literally see on my screen something different than what is being pulled up. It's absolutely absurd, dude. The fuck, dude? Hey, look, here's a friend of ours, MS Paint. MS Paint. It's been a while. It's been a while. Okay. Okay. Hey, look, we got there. Hey, we arrived. It's okay. And then let's see here. How big can I make this brush? Like, what do we got? That'll do. That'll do. Okay. Now, let's talk X-Men. Let's explain X-Men. And let's get into this. So, we're hearing a ton of different things lately about the X-Men and the mutants and Kevin Feige's plan for the X-Men and the mutants, okay? And I want to kind of explain, at least from what people are sharing, what is happening, okay? So let's start with right here, where we are currently at in the MCU. Okay? I think you have a couple of different things going on. The first thing that we have going on right now is, oh, and look at this beautiful mutants popping up, okay? Oh man, look at how good the drawing is. Oh my god, bro. This is some good shit. Okay. So, mutants popping up. I was just testing you. Make sure you're awake. This would be Kamala Khan. This would be Namor. Now, Namor's been a mutant for a while, but he's kind of popping up now. We're aware of him. There could be other people that are also having mutations pop up, and I think that could quite possibly be, you know, what you see in the next couple of years in the MCU. Okay? Then, in the main MCU timeline, the next thing that I think could be going on is I'm going to put Weapon X. Now, as we just talked about in yesterday's video, and I recommend you watch it, it's pretty dope, it seems like Phase 5 may end at a place where you're going to have the government, and maybe governments around the world, looking for super soldiers or trying to have super powered people work for them. Okay? And the sort of discovery or maybe the creation of adamantium is really interesting because it seems like that's going to be something that happens via New World Order / Thunderbolts. And the way I personally see this going down, the worst handwriting I've ever seen. Oh, well, you should see the handwritten letter we got from our next door neighbor yesterday. It was way worse. So, Weapon X. Weapons would have to come first, though. Wolverine already exists. So you think Wolverine already exists because of She-Hulk, but I will tell you this. I wouldn't trust She-Hulk for nothing, bro. I think that if you ever had an MCU show, that you should take what was put into that show as not really affecting the MCU much at all, other than some things, but that would be She-Hulk. Because I had that same thought where I was like, okay, well, what if there is already a Weapon X? And what if there is already a Wolverine? Yeah, I don't know about that, bro. I think that the way and the track on for the MCU is that you're going to start right now where we got mutants popping up. Then you're going to get into a position where you have some Weapon X type stuff being built in, okay? And then this is sort of the important part here. This is being said by a lot of different scoopers, and it is X-Men. Look at that N. Holy cow. saga. Okay? This is important. This is important. Okay? X-Men Saga. Do you understand? Let's try this. There we go. Boom. There you go. Now we got a nice thing going on. Okay. So, X-Men Saga. This is something that Daniel Rickman has talked about. Something Grace talked about yesterday. It really does seem that after Secret Wars, you're going to get a lot of focus on the mutants. And it seems like that will be the real focus of the saga after Secret Wars. Okay? So, this is the way that I kind of see this going for the main 616 timeline. You have mutants popping up. That leads into a Weapon X connection of some kind. Then you have an X-Men saga. Now, what the X-Men saga will be, who knows? Okay? Who knows exactly? We can speculate about that. But, next thing we need to talk about is, again, from where we are at right now, what's going to be happening with other types of X-Men. The whole point of the video that Grace made yesterday, which, by the way, we talked about this like weeks ago. It is being reported, again, by Daniel, that you're not going to get the main X-Men until this saga here. And instead, you're going to get a proper goodbye to the Fox X-Men first. Okay? So up here, going from the main timeline is the straight line here, okay? Then, from where we are currently at, you will get a proper goodbye to the Fox X-Men. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just make everybody cringe here. Goodbye, Fox X-Men. Yeah. Hey, we did it. We did it. Dude, is this not the best chart you've ever seen? Is this not the best chart / handwriting / timeline / drawing you've ever seen? Like, come on, man. Can we just take a second to talk about how goddamn dope this shit? I mean, holy shit. Okay, holy shit. Check it out. Now, what does that mean exactly? And this is where I think we're going to get into some kind of like interesting discussion about what that looks like. But this is being reported from multiple people, and it seems like he really does want to give sort of a proper goodbye or some kind of like finalizing thing for the Fox X-Men before he does his version of the X-Men, okay? Now, within that, you've got the OG Fox X-Men, and then you've got the Kinberg First Class X-Men. Those are both included up there, actually. And so I want to get into that and talk about that a little bit more as well. But before we do that, let's talk about another thread. This would be X-Men 97. Okay? So here we go. X-Men 97. X-Men 97, which will drop next year, is also a major thread and a major sort of timeline or story that Feige wants to continue with the X-Men. This is said to be a continuation of the story of the X-Men from the original 90s cartoon. And so it's going to follow that. I think we can assume it's the same universe, at least initially. And it's going to cover this whole other thing that is separate in canon from the main 616 timeline and from the goodbye from the X-Men. Okay? I don't know exactly what that will look like, but the writers have kind of hinted that there could be a way in which it comes into the MCU or it deals with the MCU's canon. Okay? Now, we've got one more other curve here, okay? And this is all just to sort of illustrate something for you. I think illustrate in an incredibly unbelievably entertaining and good to see. I mean, look, I know everybody's clowning on the handwriting, but are you not entertained? Like, is that not why you are here? Are you not entertained? Is this Liam's new drawing? You don't say that! Okay, so in addition to everything we already wrote here, we've got another curve down here. This is the 838. Let's just say mutants. Okay. And then the other part that we need to talk about is the fact that this right here is Secret Wars. And I'm going to take a bow now. Hang on. I know. I mean, this is it. This is what you're looking at. This is okay, so, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. Yeah, no, don't clap too hard. Okay. So, let's try to make sense of this. What this means is that Feige's plan for the X-Men is multifaceted. You have the main MCU timeline. Okay? It seems like the next steps in the next couple of years, the only real steps forward for the MCU's X-Men are going to be mutants popping up and potentially a build up to a Weapon X program, Weapon Plus program, or the weaponization of the mutants and an awareness of the mutants in the main 616 timeline. Okay? After Secret Wars, it seems like you're going to have a proper X-Men saga. Okay? That's the main thing. Now, what that unfortunately means is you're probably not getting a proper MCU X-Men film until 2026. In fact, some people think there's a locked-in date for an MCU X-Men movie in 2026. Okay? Now, let's talk about goodbye to the Fox X-Men. What does that mean exactly? Goodbye to the Fox X-Men. Well, it's so interesting because one of the things that's happening is revisiting a character in Logan that already had a really good goodbye, and you're going to revisit that character and you're going to bring that character into Deadpool 3. Okay. Now, we're also hearing that the Wolverine that's going to be hanging out with Ryan Reynolds, or at least the main one, is going to be a more angry, grumpy version of Wolverine that might well be wearing the OG, either gold and blue or gold and black, or yellow and blue, yellow and black Wolverine costume. Okay? So, the question is, what does a proper goodbye look like in this context? If you're bringing in a new variant of Logan, or having him be in a different costume, does that not differentiate him from the old, like, leather costume nostalgic thing that people would feel from the original X-Men? So, is Feige going to fix the Fox X-Men to give them a proper goodbye by making them more like the comics? And if he does that, does it run the risk of watering down the nostalgia you would feel for that group of X-Men? Okay? So, there's a sort of debate here on what a proper goodbye looks like. is it possible that he changes elements of the X-Men, which it seems like he's doing with at least Wolverine and Deadpool 3? Who's going to pop up on Secret Wars, right? Because, we just got, and I don't want to get, too spoilery. A lot of this stuff's rumor and speculation, but, Paul dropped a video earlier this week where he said that Feige wants any and every person that ever starred in a Marvel movie to pop up in a portal scene in Secret Wars. They all come in from various universes. They're all familiar to us via other franchises that we've seen them in, and then they all fight against Kang together, okay? And one of the things that Grace said in her video yesterday was she sort of speculated that you would get them looking like they did in the old movie in order to create nostalgia. Otherwise, it doesn't work. I'm kind of split on this one. I'm of two minds. In fact, I have a whole video waiting in the wings, which maybe that video will drop today. Maybe that video will drop over the weekend. We've got like 3 big videos that we're working on right now. And I'm just not sure like how they will all drop. But I did this big video, which I think you guys will absolutely love, on how Kevin Feige could fix the OG X-Men. Like, do Halle Berry as Storm, but make her more comic book accurate than she's ever been, and make it really badass. And maybe that's what he means as far as a proper goodbye to Fox and the Fox X-Men, right? Yeah, Trev's bringing up that Kelsey Grammer recently said he would boycott Disneyland if Beast didn't appear. And Kelsey Grammer was excellent as Beast, right? So I'm pretty curious as to what the proper goodbye actually means. But we can look at what happened with Spider-Man No Way Home, and I think we can sort of discern a little bit of what that means. Because if you think about Spider-Man No Way Home, you have a lot of characters from past franchises that show up and they're very familiar. Tobey's wearing his suit. Andrew's wearing his suit. Now, Tobey's aged up a little bit, obviously, but they're wearing the traditional suit that we remember. Actually, slightly different, but nobody really notices the difference. For all intents and purposes, it's the same. Okay? And you have certain villains, like Doc Ock, like the Lizard, that are very similar to the depiction that they had in the prior movies. But you also have Feige righting the wrongs of what Sony did before, especially and most notably with Electro. Electro doesn't look like the blue, crazy, pure energy, or even the balding, comb-over, space teeth dude that he did in the other film, right? Even Goblin, who looks very similar, has upgrades and changes to make him look just a little bit more badass, right? So that's the real question, is will he lean on nostalgia and bring in the OG X-Men cast wearing all the all black leather suits and they all just look super familiar? Or is he going to bring those same actors back, change their appearance a little bit, change how they look, and that's the proper goodbye, right? It's confusing. I don't really know which way he'll go with that, but nonetheless, it really does seem like that's the proper goodbye. Now, a lot of people suggest and think that this has to do with the old Fox X-Men characters, and I believe that's absolutely true. But because of how ambitious Secret Wars looks to be, I think that you'll have both. I think you'll have a team with first-class people, with James McAvoy, with Fassbender, and then I think you'll have a team with the old-school cast. And essentially, a lot of the magic of Days of Future Past, the Fox film, of like having both groups of X-Men work together, the new and old both be a part of the same movie, I think you could have something like that absolutely work for Secret Wars. But, there's a sort of weird wrench that is being thrown into all of this, and it's via Paul from Heavy Spoilers, okay? Paul from Heavy Spoilers. Have you guys ever heard of this guy? Y'all ever hear of this guy? He can't make charts like this, by the way. He can't really, he can't really like map out a timeline for you, A good lad nonetheless. So Paul made a really interesting comment on his Secret Wars video that I don't think many people are really picking up or like really appreciating. Okay? What Paul said was that he's heard that Secret Wars is meant to streamline the MCU. And he thinks that, for instance, Tom Hardy's Venom may become permanently a part of the MCU after Secret Wars. He also implied that it's possible that the first cast, Fassbender, McAvoy, all of those guys, that it's possible they just get brought into the MCU as the actual X-Men of the MCU. Okay? Which is like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I wonder, and I really would like to open it up to you guys. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think that would work? Do you think that they're going to bring in the first class people? Because I kind of think, like, if you're Kevin Feige, right? And you have the Fox X-Men, because it's slightly different than what's going on with Sony. Because, you know, again, him and Amy, they do this thing. They want to bring back these people. And he's like, we're fixing fucking Electro. Like, there's no goddamn way we're not going to fix Electro, right? Apparently, that was a part of the pitch to get Jamie to come back. So, from Feige's perspective, does he look at what Fox had, which now he has complete and total control over? Like, Sony can't tell him no with what he does with the Fox X-Men. Nobody can tell him no. So does he look at it in a way where he's like, okay, we've got the old school cast, and I want to give them a nice send-off and really, like, establish them as important. And then I can take the first class, which I didn't love those movies, and they made a lot of mistakes, but the casting itself was pretty on point. And is he going to cherry pick some of the, like, Kinberg cast and bring them in to the MCU proper moving forward? I don't know. It could work, man. I feel like the nostalgia play there could be really good for the actual X-Men in the MCU. So I don't know. I'm pretty interested in that, and I'm pretty curious about that. Now, going back down to the X-Men 97 thing, are we going to see X-Men 97 have any kind of an impact on Secret Wars? Because I would say, like, why not? That would be super fun. I understand it could be convoluted and crazy, but if you think about Marvel's history and what Kevin Feige's been doing, he literally just had the What If show, which introduced the Peggy Carter Captain America, and then you get a variant of that character in the multiverse via Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So he's established something in animation, and then it sort of pays off later, and it comes into live action. I don't know, but it would be really cool for X-Men 97 to not just be what it is, but also have some kind of a tie-in to the multiverse or to Secret Wars. Like, if you're going to have a portal scene, right, and bring in all these different franchises, and maybe even more than that, because there's variants. Like, look at Multiverse of Madness. It creates a variant universe where you have all of these established Marvel things that are seemingly working together. So is X-Men 97 then also going to be something that paid off and ties in to Secret Wars? I'm not sure. Another question is 838 mutants and the mutants all throughout the multiverse. Like, how crazy is Feige going to get with this? Because there's part of it that's like, when we saw Charles Xavier roll up in Multiverse of Madness, it was nostalgic and it hit and it was dope. But we also were instantly able to recognize this is a version of Charles that is different than every other version we've seen before. In my mind, some of the dopeness that comes from the multiverse is Elseworld versions of it. Spoiler alert for Quantum Mania. You will see many variants of Scott in that movie. And a ton of them are going to work together towards the end of the movie. So I think, especially if, depending on what they do in Deadpool 3, okay? If Deadpool 3 sees many different versions of Logan, many different versions of Deadpool, is that the flavor and the spice? Holy shit. Like, I don't know. But I would hope that 838 or other Elseworld versions of the mutants could be visited via the multiverse. And it's possible through films like Deadpool 3, through the Fantastic Four, and maybe even shows or X-Men 97 or whatever, that you begin to establish that all of these different groups and teams are facing incursions, facing the collapse of the multiverse, and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I think is dope. And the other part that's so fucking cool about this, because I'll say this, I'm salty that we won't get the proper MCU 616 X-Men focused on until the X-Men saga, the mutant saga, right? I'm a little bummed, okay? But look at all this fucking X-Men shit we're gonna get before we even get there. Dude, you're gonna have mutants pop up. You're gonna have Weapon X. You're gonna have some stuff established in the main one. You've got a goodbye to the Fox X-Men via the multiverse, definitely Deadpool 3, which will be paid off in Secret Wars. You've got X-Men 97. And then you got the possibility of other X-Men groups as well going on. So I think it's a really cool way for us to sort of have a bunch of fun X-Men stuff. Again, say goodbye to the Fox X-Men, and then have Secret Wars, which will really deal with the Fox X-Men. And then we start the mutant saga for the MCU proper after that. And so thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I like the X-Men. I don't know if you guys knew this about me, but I really like the X-Men. And I'm really excited for all the X-Men stuff that's coming. So, there you have it. There you have it. So, let's get into Q&A, man. Let's get into Q&A. Now, also, too, of course, what do you guys think of all the X-Men shit? Like, just let me know. Like, how good was that TED Talk? On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was that X-Men TED Talk? You said the Eternity Saga was after the Secret War Saga, not the Mutant Saga. This is true. This is true. And I have mixed feelings about that as well, Smokey. Do we need to do a whole nother chart? Do we need to do a whole nother chart? Because I do think that you'll still get Eternity War and you'll still get that sort of stuff. But it's very possible that a lot of that will be tied to mutants, or just like right now, where... Like right now, they're calling this the Multiverse Saga, right? But if you really think about it, there's not like a ton of multiverse stuff. It's just that's where we know it's going to end, right? And so I wonder, like, if you have a mutant saga, are you going to push just like a lot of the Earth 616 stuff around mutants while also setting up this crazy cosmic shit that's going to be paid off like in Eternity War? I'm not really sure. It's also possible that Feige trademarked a bunch of possible things that are names for projects that they want to do, right? So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But given all the stuff we've been hearing, all the rumors and all the sort of speculation about the mutants, this is the best that I could do as far as like bringing it all together and trying to make sense of it. You know? 3 out of 10 text better than writing. Upgrade yo shit. And/or hate chart? I mean, we could do that if you want. Should I do a chart when I talk about that? Avengers vs. X-Men? I do think Avengers vs. X-Men is going to be a thing, yeah. I do. Okay, let's get into the Q&A, man. And you know what I got to start with? I got to start with a bunch of chats from yesterday. And I just wanted to say, Alfonso brings up a couple of interesting things here. Again, we were talking about... Star Wars and like my relationship to Star Wars. So one of the things that Alfonso said yesterday was, Josh, I need you to please be careful with banking on Dave Filoni. What if Ahsoka is a big miss? By the way, miss me with your Kenobi take. I enjoyed it. Oh my God. Alfonso enjoyed Kenobi. Can you believe it? I guess there are people out there that enjoyed Kenobi, you know, and we should learn to live with these people. That's what I think the lesson is. So there you go. Thanks for that one. Also, too, look, Alfonso might have a point about Ahsoka. if Mandalorian season 3 is bad or just not as dope, and then Ahsoka kind of is just flat, it's man. I don't know. I don't know what I don't even know. I don't even want to think about what would have to. What does your heart tell me? That Frodo is alive. Yes. He's alive. So we'll just leave that one there. Okay, and then Alfonso also says, in all seriousness, some things aren't for others. You do you, Josh. We still love, support you, and appreciate you. Keep growing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Brandon Voss said yesterday, Luthen is literally Star Wars Nick Fury. Wow. Who's Luthen again? Renee Ramon with a $20 holiday. That's definitely not wasted money. And at the end of yesterday's thing, he was like, I just wasted $20. No, you didn't, sir. Here we go. Something to consider. People have been asking for a Sith movie / TV show. But if that happened, you're going to get something very similar to Andor. Subject and tone might be the same, but the Force and lightsabers. That could be really cool, actually. I would actually dig that a lot. You know, it was really healthy to hear everybody's perspective yesterday as far as like my coverage of Star Wars. I learned a lot. I listened a lot. And I think I get why people are so frustrated with my takes on it, and also why I need to use better language and be more clear about, you know, things that I don't like about it, but also acknowledge what's good about Andor. You know what I mean? So we'll get there. I have a big video. I got to watch the Andor from this week. I got to watch the Andor finale. And then I'll do like a big sort of recap video and like kind of be like, here's what I think of Star Wars. Okay, anyway, let's get into more of the Q's and the A's here. So, first one in today was Eric Myers, who said Pokemon versus MTG. Oh, dude, it's MTG all day, but the Pokemon games are legit, dude. Like, I really like the Pokemon games, and I think it's going to be really fun to get in there and play around later. And again, like, try to capture some fun ones, get a shiny, you know, make my good team or whatever. Which, by the way, what starter are y'all going with? New Pokemon game? I know! I'm getting the new Pokemon game at midnight tonight. I'm so excited. What starter should I pick, chat? Let me know. Which starter should I get? Captain Zeit says, member for 10 months, says, I'll be getting the new Pokemon for sure. Warzone 2 dropped yesterday. Are you going to check it out? Maybe a Warzone stream sometime if you're feeling it? Yeah, I mean, I definitely could do a Warzone 2 stream. I'm not the best. I'm not, like, the worst either. There's, like, a really weird learning curve with this one. I'm finding it a little difficult to manage the looting. Yeah, so, but yeah, maybe someday. I'll tell you, the next big stream that I want to do for sure is when the next big Marvel games come out or the big Star Wars game comes out. So, I just watched a review of the Midnight Suns game. Guys, I gotta tell you, I think that's gonna be a really fun game for us to stream. Because, like, apparently the action's really fun, but also a big part of the game is, like, just having conversations with the different people in the Coven and different types, like the Avengers and stuff. And even though it might not be the most intriguing thing to actually play, I think for us, it might be really fun as a community to stream that. Because I'll be, like, talking to the Avengers and like making snarky comments and just kind of like having a fun time, you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to streaming that game for sure. Peyton Moore, member for 2 months, says, appreciate you, Josh. Hey, I appreciate you right back. Thank you so much. Trev says, look at how the A in Avengers becomes the 4 for the Fantastic Four and the FF logo becomes the X for the X-Men one. Am I only one seeing it? I mean, I can see it a little bit, yeah. The A becomes, yeah, I could see it. I could see it. By the way, hope you're doing well, Trev. I don't really want to share your business out there, but just hope you're doing well, man. Skurson says, are you getting Scarlet or Violet? Okay, chat, I need your help here. I got a copy of each one. Okay? And one of them is for Elisa, and one of them is for me. So, tell me which one's the better one, so I should use that one. Which is the one that's the dopest dope? Which one should I get? Tell me. Violet? Okay, roger that. So, it looks like Elisa's going to be getting Scarlet. Okay, anyway. Mo from the phone. $10 holla, very generous, man, says Black Panther post-credit scene. Riri goes back to school, and her professor is talking to her about what she's missed. She walks out of class into the hallway. Behind the back shot, as he's walking past, a faculty member drops him to congratulate him for a presentation he just gave. Shortly after, he goes, I know you're in a rush. Are we still on for tomorrow? Great, I'll see you then, Victor. Oh, shit! That would be pretty crazy. I don't know if that's going to happen exactly, but I would love a Doctor Doom connection to what Riri's doing. I don't want to give too much away, but just watch the leak video that I'll put out about Kang Dynasty. Because wouldn't it be crazy if there was a young variant of Kang, a Iron Lad, that was maybe involved with Riri and War Machine? That would be kind of fun. Also, it would be really crazy if maybe the supporting cast of Spider-Man, who went to MIT, had some kind of interaction with Riri during her show. I don't know. Who knows? Alex says, with a member for chat for $5, says, the smirk Reed gives strange after the 60s quote has always caught me intrigued. Yeah, definitely. There's something to it. There's something to it, for sure. And I don't know. I really hope they pay off 838. I know that Kendall is in that boat too, where we like 838 a lot, and we want it to come back. We want 838 to continue to play a big deal or play a big role. So I would like that a lot. You know what I mean? I would. Joe says, ever watch Doom Patrol? Surprised it does not get more love. Very funny. Yeah, I've watched some Doom Patrol. It's good. It's good. It's funny. The seasons are a little long for me. They're a little meandering. But yeah, it's fun. I've had fun with the show for sure. Anthony Cotta says, member for 17 months, says, the new editing styles you have been using in Den of Nerds videos is so good, bro. And your most recent vid about Phase 5 has got me pumped AF. Nerd Vengers! Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah. So Fernie and I, Andy, Lisa, we've all been working on like the new edits and like kind of how to handle that. A big part of what I'm going to do tomorrow is like really dig in and be like, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? But I'm glad you like the new edits. We're putting a lot of work into the videos. I want every Den of Nerds video to feel very high effort and to feel like we're really putting in some serious effort. Oh, Kendall thinks that the 838 is the X-Men 97. Oh, that would be crazy. I don't know about that. That would be pretty wild. David says with a $5 holla, doesn't the selection of Matt Shackman's all but confirm the 1960s rumor? It's certainly a feather in the cap of it. I mean, again, with all the stuff going on with WandaVision, it does seem like that 60s vibe, he could fit really well with that. So, I'm interested. Color me interested, that's for sure. Trinity says X-Men is so outdated. There's strong women there too, Josh. Mutant Saga. Yeah, for sure. Did y'all see Emily Blunt recently say in an interview that as soon as she reads strong female character in a script, she just rolls her eyes because it's so fucking boring and just uninventive? Yeah, dude. Like, more regular ass people need to just kind of come forward and be like, yeah, man, a lot of this shit just ain't it, dude. You know? And I think maybe we're heading towards that place as well. So thank you for that, Trinity. Mosty says, honest opinion on Russo's not returning. Do we have a confirmed reason? What about Coogler and Destin Daniel Crichton? I'm always hyped for the MCU, but I'm curious on your take. So initially, man, I was bummed that the Russos weren't going to be a part of it. Okay? But the Russos have been kind of acting crazy lately, dude. Like they want to make a TikTok movie about Hercules and shit. They're talking about how no movie will ever surpass Endgame, and that was like a certain special time. Like the Russos are talking crazy, bro. You know, the Russos are talking crazy. So I don't know, man. I'm not at the same place I was when it initially happened. I was fucking bummed, bro. But I'm not at the place that I was. What about Coogler and DDC? I mean, I like both these guys a lot, man. I don't know if Coogler's like the guy for Secret Wars, but I think he delivered a hell of a good movie in Wakanda Forever. There are some things that I just kind of have personal hangups on, but I can't deny like the work done in that movie. Like that movie's very deliberate, and he really chose. Elisa and I were talking about this the other day because, you know, Angela Bassett came out and she kind of said that she disagreed with her character dying in the movie, right? And we talked about that a little bit. We were like, that's kind of weird, right? Like it's kind of a bad look. And I remember being like watching it and being like, damn, like that's a lot, bro. Like that's a lot. You've got so much death following that family. T'Chaka's death surrounds the first movie, you know? T'Challa's death and the death of Queen Ramonda surround Wakanda Forever. And at first, there was a part of me that was like, yo, it's too much. They're doing too much. But then I started to think, if you took all the shit out of it, right? Like you took the real life Chadwick thing out of it. And even like the sort of sensibilities around like treating minority characters in a certain way, because there's like almost this attitude of like, yo, you can't do that to this very prominent royal black family. They can't have all this death and tragedy. What are you doing putting all this death and tragedy onto this prominent black family? But then I thought, well, if you're going to treat them differently because they're black, and you're going to not do all the fundamental story things or what you would do with regular characters or like, you know, just a cast that wasn't representing a group, if you are treating them differently because of that, well, then you're kind of fucking up in a different way. Like, that's like that shit where the strong female character, like, you can't have the strong female character go through all this trials and tribulation and face all this loss. Well, that equals weak-ass characters. And I was thinking about, like, Ryan said this thing where he was watching a bunch of 80s action movies, like Aliens, Terminator, you know, all these different things. He was watching a lot of those movies when he was coming up with what to do in Wakanda Forever. And that kind of translated to me like Coogler made a distinct decision to really focus more on his job as a director and creating a dope ass sequel than he did as far as like thinking about all these other things that maybe we think about as a person or as a fan, right? Maybe it's totally right that we feel differently about it. Maybe it's totally right that Angela Bassett feels differently about it. But at the end of the day, the guy that's helming the story, he probably has to just think story first. And so I ended up coming away with a lot of respect for Ryan for making that decision. That's a brave decision to make. He's going to be judged by all kinds of different people in all kinds of different ways for making that decision. But ultimately, I do think it's probably the right decision. You know? So, look, I'm hyped for the MCU. I think Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty and all this stuff is going to be dope as hell. And at the end of the day, like, we're going to find out. We're going to find out together. We're going to find out together. So thanks again, Moosty. Appreciate it. Fat Tony, member for 5 months, says, member stream was great yesterday, dude. By the way, how you like this week's Bleach episode? Oh, my God, bro. This week's Bleach episode? I feel like watching it again. This is such a good arc, but it's also so clear that the care that's being put in to this anime is out of control. Like, it feels so well drawn, so fluid, like fucking like movie quality hand-drawn animation. Like, this shit is fire, dude. And yeah, I thought yesterday's stream was awesome, and I really appreciate everybody being there. Did you watch Dragon Prince Season 4? Much love. Yeah, I did, and I loved it, but it was a little too short. It didn't feel like it pushed enough things forward, and holy crap, I hope we don't have to wait a long time for the next one. But yeah, dude, Dragon Prince is dope. Chase says, remember for 10 months, says, is this a real screenshot from Kevin's whiteboard? You know what's funny about that? Obviously it is not, but I wonder how similar it is to the way they've approached this issue. Like, there's gotta be whiteboards that like Feige and his lieutenants and shit have that are probably eerily similar to what I just drew out. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe delusions of grandeur? Or possibly cosmic coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. Let's see here. David says, I think Feige saw what was to be and changed the end of She-Hulk to make it not as cohesive or connective as it was initially supposed to be. I think that's probably fair, dude. I think that's probably fair. Mo from the Foe says, possibility we see Westchester incident. From Logan? Is that what you're referring to, bro? Are you in the chat right now? Are you talking about from Logan? I don't think so. I don't think so. But some people are saying Logan will have something to do with Deadpool 3. So we'll have to wait and see. Or are you talking about the Westchester Institute as far as like the start of Civil War in the comics? Okay, you're talking about that. Okay, right on. Chris Listenfeld says, Papa gotta teach stuff. It's true. Thanks. Matthew says, yeah, 11 months. Yo, it says 12 months for me, bruh. It says 12 months for me there, bruh. Elijah says, with a $10 very generous super chat, says, I want to clarify, Josh, if Star Wars had been making bangers with Disney and we were all happy and fed, and then they came out with this different angle of Andor, would you still not like it? I probably wouldn't hate it as much as I do. And, you know, again, a lot of cool stuff came out from the conversation yesterday. And I think it's fair to say that, like, Andor is doing a lot of the things that I want Star Wars to do, where it's taking itself seriously. It's trying to expand and do something different, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that I like from Andor. And I really do think it's my dislike of Andor absolutely has to do with the current state of Star Wars. So that is absolutely fair. But more on that later. J Mike Gaming says, Josh, if we got Dave Filoni content and super serious Star Wars content like Andor for the rest of time, would you consider that a good compromise? If we got Dave Filoni content and super serious? Yeah, I think there's a way forward for both. Absolutely. And I think, too, honestly, if Tony Gilroy was willing to play nice with Dave and they could actually, like, use their powers together, it could be really incredible. Because I think the mysticism is one of the things that's missing from Andor. And it's really this, like, slow burn, like, character thing where they're trying to show you how awful the Empire can be by, like, actually going through all the steps and things like that. Like, I think that can work. But to me, in order to feel more like Star Wars, there needs to be a mystic element to it. And so I don't know how that could work together. Maybe that's something you'll see in the next Star Wars movie. And I don't so hate the tone of Andor that I don't see it working for other projects. I just think you need a mystical bedrock, a real, like, allegory for the personal journey that person takes between, like, the light side and the dark side, essentially. And without that, I have a lot of trouble, like, kind of getting into it at the Star Wars level. But yeah, as opposed to everything else we've gotten, says J Mike. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Eric says, with a $7 holla, do you believe Kang has manipulated the MCU from day one? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And that's partially what the Loki series is meant to establish. That literally, you have a multiversal war, and then Kang wins the multiversal war, and then because he can time travel, he goes all the way back in time to the very beginning of the MCU, and he caters it in such a way that then it forever, up until Loki, is under his complete control. But I would also tell you that it's important to remember that in a post-Loki world, there's still a TVA, maybe multiple TVAs, and we see at least one of them at the end of Loki. So the TVA and Kang the Conqueror still have influence under the 616. It's just different. The mandate's not the same, right? So yeah, Kang controlled everything before, probably still controls everything. Casey Walsh had some quote tweets yesterday about the freshman year layoffs. A lot of people saying that it got canceled behind the scenes late yesterday. Thoughts? Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think so, actually. It would shock me if Marvel canceled anything that they've already announced. And I know, like, Marvel doesn't have a perfect track record on this, but, like, that is just not something that they like to do, right? So, is it possible freshman year got scrapped? Absolutely. Is it possible that the freshman year team was told they're not returning? Definitely. We'll have to wait and see on that. I don't really know. But thank you very much for the 10. Josiah says, you think they'd do an 838 special presentation one day? Oh my God, bro. I would love it. Oh, yeah. Lizzie Hill seems to imply that Echo will be scrapped/canceled also. Yeah, that production appears to be very messy, and I don't know what the deal is with that, but Echo always sounded like a mess to me. But frankly, like, I've heard from people that Thunderbolts sounds like a mess now, that New World Order sounds like a mess now, because Feige was basically like, yo, fuck what y'all got going on. Harrison Ford, Red Hulk, all over it. And they were like, but we've got this script, and we got this thing. And he was like, shut your goddamn mouth. So, I don't know. Let's see. RF Gaming Channel, member for 20 months, says Happy Life Day. Oh my God, is it Life Day? I didn't even know. That's pretty well. Nice. Happy Life Day, man. Jedi Joey says, why is T'Challa's son not in Wakanda? Well, because T'Challa and Nakia decided it would be best, given everything that had happened, for him to grow up away from the throne. So I don't know. I mean, that's the answer we've got. Maybe there'll be more elaboration on it moving forward. A-Butta821 says, hey, Josh, question. If Omega from Bad Batch is Boba's sister, where is she now? Who knows, bro? But it would be cool to see her brought back. I'd like to see her. I like Omega, you know, and I'd like to see her in the white armor or some shit. That could be really, really fun. So, yeah. Kendall says, Kang used Alioth, to create one timeline. That's why Loki and Sylvie controlling Alioth was a big deal to him. Wanda and Doom will do it after Secret Wars. Yeah, there's something there going on with Alioth for sure. And I'm really kind of interested in, like, what, because Kang said, like, I harness the power of Alioth to win the multiversal war, is I think what he says. I'll have to go back and double check it. But yeah, like Alioth and the power of Alioth absolutely is something that's able to be used via multiverse or time travel or something like that. But I don't know that it's strictly explained that Alioth is the way he changed all of time, because I think he can just time travel. You know what I mean? Eric says, did Kang then control the Eternals in some way? / Celestials? Yeah. It's possible. It's also possible that that's one thing he can't control, or something that he can't control as much. But yeah, I do believe that he is in control of, if not the Eternals and Celestials themselves, then of a lot of different things that are happening around that time. So, yeah. He, exactly. He said he used it to create one timeline. Yes. Phase 4 is important. Bro, we need to stream soon. I know. Trust me, I know. I'm definitely looking forward to a little break, though. I got a lot of stuff on my plate and a lot of stuff I got to try to figure out. But we're in a really cool place right now with Marvel, and moving into Phase 5. I think things are going to be really exciting. The narrative is going to sort of be, oh, Phase 5 is so much better. Phase 5 killing it. Phase 5 is way better than Phase 4. I think. And I'm very excited for that as well. Because, yeah, Phase 4 was a little bit of a decline, for sure. Vandolph the Black says, yo, Josh, you see this George R.R. Martin Wild Cards superhero world thing? What is my guy got involved with superheroes and gave it that Hot D approach. Yo, that would be sick. I know Wild Cards was like a book he wrote, wasn't it? So I don't really know. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I mean, it's very possible that's something that George could be approached. Dude, superheroes, George Martin, Hot D approach. I'm in, bro. I'm in. You want an Goliath stuffed animal? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I think that was a good stream, everybody. Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for going over the X-Men thoughts with me. I really appreciate it. Like I said, no public stream tomorrow. We will do a Prime stream, and there'll be a ton of really cool videos dropping in the next couple of days. So make sure you check those out, and we'll be back at it on Monday. Eric says, Andor is all brakes, no gas. Oh, dude, totally. If the gas was from like the 1940s when cars were first invented and you're going like 25 miles per hour and you think that's fast as fuck, then yes, I agree with you. That's what it is. Deep South! Welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. Make your way around the tower, check out the amenities, and get that big golden wiener you've got looked at, for sure. Could be, you never want to say it, but I would get it looked at. Okay, everybody. Much love to you all. I appreciate you guys. Maybe I'll post some stuff in the Discord later tonight about my Pokemon journey. So it looks like I'm getting the not Violet one, right? Whatever the other one is. I'm getting the other one. She's getting Violet or some shit? Cool. Sounds good. All right, everybody. Much love. Appreciate y'all. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Ah, yes. Yes. So nice to go over X-Men thoughts. So nice to show you guys all the lovely charting and handwriting that I could do. What an incredible way for us to bond together and get excited for things to come. Wait, I need Scarlet? Wait, which one? Which one's the good one? I don't understand. Which one's the one? What should I get? I don't understand. Am I getting Scarlet? Or am I getting Violet? She's getting... Wait, what's the good one? God damn it. Red? Oh, jeez. I get Scarlet? What the... Man, you guys are confusing. That's confusing. Anyway, just want to say thanks again for all the support. Especially all you Nerd Vengers that were there yesterday. That was a really good chat. We'll do more of that in the future. Appreciate you. Make sure that you open up your third eye and make sure you wash out with soap. Make sure you wait, turn the music back down. Make sure you wash out your freaking dang bunghole, man. Wash it out. You don't want to have it not being washed out and have a dirty bunghole. What are you thinking about? Can't do it. Come and stay.